Good afternoon. Welcome to RSBN Live as we continue our coverage today as the Prime Minister, the Taoiseach of Ireland, is going to be at the White House. Of course, we saw that earlier today. And today is going to be a St. Patrick's reception at the East Room of the White House. So looking forward to seeing that be taken care of there. Again, the Taoiseach of Ireland. There's so many different pronunciations of it. I was speaking with Robert McNeely earlier before the broadcast about that. But at the end of the day, the head of state there, the Prime Minister of Ireland, Micheál Martin, will be in the East Room there along with President Trump for a St. Patrick's Day reception. I know it's on March 17th, but still just a few days in advance right now as the Irish and American leaders are together. And it was a great Oval Office meeting from earlier today. If you didn't catch that, that's on our website as well, and on X, on Truth Social, on all over the place, really. You can catch it on Rumble and YouTube. So very good to see that. A quick review on St. Patrick. Let's just break it down just to refresh some of our memories out there. St. Patrick was a 5th century missionary and bishop who is credited with bringing Christianity to Ireland. He was born in Britain. He was captured by Irish raiders at the age of 16 and spent 6 years in slavery before escaping and later returning to convert the Irish people to Christianity. Quite the resume there. If you just think about that paragraph, the amount that this guy, St. Patrick, had to go through to overcome all of these things in his life, and he made it to the goal, and it was great to see that. And now, of course, celebrated across this country and in other countries around the world. So looking forward to the 17th, but still today, a St. Patrick's celebration of sorts, a reception at the East Room of the White House. Before we get to more commentary and any live interviews, let's go to Colonial Metals Group. All you have to do is go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN. You get a free info kit on gold and silver, tax-sheltered IRA, 401k, all the good information that you need to get everything taken care of when it comes to your retirement or your savings. Instead of just letting the markets take that money all over the place, you can have it backed in gold and silver. And this is even in the face of, seeing inflation dropping and more jobs happening under President Trump. But having gold and silver as a backup plan, always a great idea as well. So just go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN for more information, and you will get this info kit. So gold and silver right there. It's Colonial Metals Group. All right, so it's 4:49 Eastern. We also, again, saw President Trump and the leader of Ireland there at the White House earlier today. Depending on the timing of the 5 o'clock East Room live picture, we may be able to play some of the Oval Office clip as well. It just depends on if we're going to get a live feed right at 5 or if that's something that will be played back a bit later in the broadcast. So we'll see how everything goes there. Now, within current events, just like in the United Kingdom, you still have to watch out for any censorship or freedoms being taken away, specifically whether it's the UK or Ireland or wherever. At the end of the day, the people want to be free, and as long as we have leaders that are supporting that, always a good thing. So, of course, it would be great to have someone like Conor McGregor on the broadcast. I mean, you think about President Trump talking about the UFC boxer just a bit ago in the Oval Office, a great Irishman there, and it would be cool to hear what he has to say about what's going on in Ireland, how things are in the way of life there now compared to maybe years ago, and maybe the direction the country should go in when it comes to the future. And if it always has to do with Ireland first and freedom, and that kind of things, just like this country, America first and freedom, that's a great thing for we the people, or just people of the world that want to be free. So looking forward to this event in about 10 minutes from now from the East Room of the White House. And joining us in a little bit will be someone from the America First Policy Institute, a former ambassador to Denmark under President Trump's first administration. Carla Sands will join us in just a few minutes as we get ready to go there live to the East Room. A lot of live great coverage earlier today by Robert McNeely, and awesome to see all of that live coverage on RSBN Live. And thank you guys again for streaming in from the beginning to the end. A lot of you guys are very loyal watchers. Even if you're at work, you have it on your phone or you're watching somehow, and maybe even just have an earpiece in. Hey, we won't tell. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to hear what's going on in the world. Obviously, as you do work hard and get your job done, but still being able to watch us, whether it's during a break or maybe at the house after work, Always awesome to see the replays or see the live vantage points that you see every day here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. And on top of that, whenever there's any America First breaking news or things that are outside of the Beltway that we can cover, we'll bring it to you as we get it. 50 wins in the first 50 days. We've been going over that list a little bit. And it's interesting because we're now 52 days into the president's second administration, but still, to cover some more of the list of those 50 great things that he has done, I'm going to tackle some of those here. I only got to about number 8 or 9 last time because of various live coverage, but it'll be great to jump into some of that as we monitor various stories that are happening around the country. And of course, as we bring you this live footage here, possibly live or a tape playback, depending on the feed situation there from the White House. So we'll see in just a bit. Before we get to our live interview with Carla Sands and before we jump into those 50 wins in 50 days, let's look at the cabinet positions right now. There's only one position that President Trump said, let's have at least Stefanik as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Well, that one has yet to be done at this point. So that's the only one left. The other day it was Lori Chavez-DeRemer with the Secretary of Labor. And so now we're waiting on Elise Stefanik. So once that happens, again, President Trump undefeated as he has been with this all-star cast of patriots in the cabinet that we've been seeing a lot. So again, it's 4:53 right now. In just a few minutes, the president will attend a St. Patrick's Day reception along with Taoiseach of Ireland, the Prime Minister Micheál Martin, and that'll be in the East Room. So for now, let's go live to Carla Sands with America First Policy Institute in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I know sometimes you call it the Keystone State, but at the end of the day, thank you so much, Carla, for joining us on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Oh, it's great to be with you, Matthew, and all your viewers.
So can you talk to us about today? I mean, at the end of the day, President Trump, this is probably, 9th or 10th foreign leader at the White House. I mean, he doesn't stop, does he?
He doesn't stop. We have the probably hardest working president in the history of our country. He doesn't take a day off. And he told my nephew when he was at my home years ago, he said, if you want to be successful, don't take a day off, work every day. And so I think that's how he runs our country. How lucky are we after we had Joe Biden take more days off than any president in our history?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you think about it, even though it's called the Gulf of America, President Trump still hasn't really gone there and sat on the beach like Biden would have done a million times already. But we see the difference. We see the dark versus the light. We see the truth versus the falsehoods out there. We're really seeing this happen in our country. Can you believe it? I mean, if we rewind to interviews we've done with you in the past, both Robert McNeely, whether it was in D.C. or whether here on the show, can you believe we're at the point we're at right now, the amount of accomplishments he's actually taken care of?
It's extraordinary. And when the White House put out that list of their accomplishments, it's like one after another. It would be amazing to have one every month. But instead, in a little over 60 days, we've had probably several a day. And they just gave us like their top hits. Keeping boys out of girls' sports is big for me, the mother of a daughter, but also things like securing the border. That app that the Homeland Security created that got those illegals into our country has been reverse engineered, and now it shows them how to go home. I mean, it's so extraordinary to see everyone working together to make our country great, make people more prosperous, and make us more secure as a nation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the winning is nonstop right now. So, what else is there to talk about other than, hey, win, 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 let's keep going. But we still have to be vigilant on the side of, we do see some protesters out there, whether they're paid or not, attacking Tesla dealerships and all that. How about yesterday with President Trump purchasing a Tesla? Did you get a chance to look at that? And what were your thoughts?
I did. I was so excited to see that President Trump bought a Tesla. I think there are others from around the country that are buying Teslas. People are investing in Tesla stock. Elon Musk helped save Western civilization by buying Twitter, then Twitter, now X, and creating a free speech platform. Without that ability to have free speech and the pressure on the other big media companies, I'm not sure that President Trump would have been able to get his message out to the American people. The course of our nation may have gone in a different direction. And then Elon Musk went to churches all over Pennsylvania, came to my personal church. So he has invested hundreds of millions of his own also to help President Trump get elected.
Exactly. And can you talk to us about something you're familiar with, the U.S. energy sector and the amount of different businesses that are investing in America? And we're seeing a lot of good things on every level. Every time President Trump at the end of those speeches, he'd say, we'll make America wealthy again, or healthy again, or strong again, or energy independent. I mean, this is literally not just talk, is it?
It's not just talk. President Trump has created the greatest energy coalition probably in the history of our country to harmonize, to get the permits in a shorter period of time so investors can have confidence to make that investment. And also he's working on the legal side where they would have leftist groups come out at the very end after people had invested hundreds of millions of dollars in a project before it was a go. And then the leftist groups, probably funded by our tax dollars now that we know what USAID was up to, would come in and sue to stop the project from going forward. And then we had President Biden literally kill Keystone XL pipeline the first day of his presidency. Today, we see good versus evil. We see good that the energy companies are producing, and there's going to be refineries built under President Trump, pipelines installed, and there's going to be an energy abundance. The price at the pump has already come down, and eggs have already come down too. So you can see there's going to be some choppiness in the stock market. So don't look at your 401k. Let's get through this sort of reorienting of bringing manufacturing back to America.
Exactly. And then on top of that, we see the great things happening along the southern border when it comes to at least it being sealed and closed. Still some situations with fentanyl. That's why President Trump following through with all of these tariffs against Mexico and Canada and even China with the situation because they, of course, produce some of the fentanyl. But outside of that, DOJ doing a great job. I mean, if you just look at all the departments right now, yes, the only people that are not liking it are people that are, I guess, woke, right?
Well, I think woke people, but also people that have been profiting off of the blob in Washington, D.C. And those may be some Republicans or their kids or grandkids or spouses, girlfriends that might have jobs in these NGOs that don't produce hardly anything. Many of those NGOs, the majority of the money, and I'm talking 90%, stayed in the Washington, D.C. area. And then a tiny bit went to the country, whether it was in Africa or Asia or Europe, to promote these leftist causes. Often they were leftist causes, or even attempting to send trans, people to perform to kind of change society. And these are in mostly Catholic or Christian or Muslim majority countries.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of various religions, I mean, some of the things happening in foreign policy, or at least around the world, some of the current events, of course, the situation in Syria over the weekend, absolutely awful to see what was happening there with Christians and minorities being killed there in Syria. And then, just a few weeks ago in Congo, the 70 Christians killed. I mean, we see that and we see those headlines, but it's like, what do? We got to pray and we got to make sure our leaders know about this stuff and take care of business, right?
That's right. I think that there's been an absence of protection of Christians, and the slaughter of the Christians, whether it's in Africa or in one of these other countries where it's happening, Syria, it's, first of all, it's unconscionable. And the numbers are large. We're not hearing the numbers. It's in the tens of thousands potentially being slaughtered. So what we have to do is make them stop. And oftentimes these countries are getting aid. They're getting aid or they're getting trade from the U.S. And so I think there has to be pressure put on these governments to force the terrorists, and these are Islamists that are attempting to either, force these people to become Muslim or they kill them. And these are Christians that are standing with their faith. So Christians around the world have to stand with these people and have to protect them. It's absolutely our responsibility, I think, to protect these people.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see Israel stepping in. I saw some of them with some attacks there in Syria too. So outside of the Middle East, let's shift up a little bit over to Ukraine, Russia. We're seeing that day by day, this may become a peace situation between those two nations.
It's very exciting that we have the potential for a ceasefire and then to begin the talks between Russia and Ukraine. And this is 3 years too late, but thank you to President Trump and his leadership, it's now happening, that the killing will end. He is the peace president, and I hope that he gets the Nobel Peace Prize in this calendar year.
Exactly. I mean, he deserved it from the first administration because at the end of the day, he didn't start any new wars. He was actually wanting to end wars and stop anything like that. So, yeah, it would be great to have the Nobel Peace Prize times at least 3 or 4 for President Trump. Shifting
Yes.
now to entertainment and the media world when it comes to Hollywood or the mainstream media. They're all at this point. It would not be a good time to be, in entertainment or in mainstream media because nobody's really watching the woke filth any longer. Am I right?
People don't want it. That's why movies aren't doing well in Hollywood. Why many of them are losing money. People want to have a story. They want a story and they want to love their country. They want to be entertained. They don't want to be preached to about the woke nonsense. And so hopefully, I mean, we have Angel Studios and other conservative groups making great entertainment. I've seen some of their films. They're terrific. So I highly recommend them. But I think that Hollywood may be getting the message, and President Trump has appointed Hollywood ambassadors and people whose names we know, the great Americans, and hopefully they'll be able to have an impact in Hollywood because the point of it shouldn't be to indoctrinate people. It should be to make money.
Yeah, make money, but off of pure entertainment. I mean, what happened to just the basic movies that we've all grown to love over the years? Also, today we're looking at the St. Patrick's reception that'll happen at the East Room of the White House, even though, of course, St. Patrick's Day on Monday, but still the Ireland leader here. Great time to have this reception. Your thoughts about that, the relations with Ireland and the United States, obviously a good friendship. But still, within Ireland and the UK and some other countries, some of the leaders not too fond of the freedom of speech. It's more of a censorship thing. So President Trump's got to juggle so much when these foreign leaders show up.
Matthew, it's so true. So when I went to Denmark as ambassador to that kingdom, as a matter of fact, the most woke country was absolutely Ireland. I couldn't believe I had visited Ireland and I had seen the traditional wonderful things. But if you flash forward, Ireland's now like in the tank of the globalist UN WEF agenda, and they are supporting all of the DEI stuff, all of the ESG stuff that we know leads to bad outcomes, right? It's against the Irish citizens. So they're forcing illegal immigrants into small villages in Ireland, completely changing the town. The girls are getting raped. The people don't feel safe in their homes. They're arresting people for stating the truth. For instance, that a young man dressed as a woman is a guy. And even at a Christian school, there was a teacher who was arrested and put in prison because he spoke the truth. That's in Ireland, like the #1 Catholic country in the world. So it's upside down. And I hope that they'll stand with President Trump and secure their border, allow free speech, and allow their citizens to be prosperous and safe.
And that's exactly what the people of Ireland want, the people of the United Kingdom want, the people of Brazil, and you name any country, people usually want to be free and not have the government put their finger down on them and control them. So it's like catch-22 is not the right way to describe it, but St. Patrick was a Christian missionary. I love St. Patrick's Day. I know you do too. I mean, many people love and celebrate that day, but and there's so many great things from Ireland. But the problem is when you have a different kind of leadership doing exactly what you said there, pushing a woke agenda instead of what the people want. So that's the thing that's interesting when President Trump meets with all the foreign leaders. You have to have the common ground for trade and safety and security and all. But, still, of course, the St. Patrick's reception today is going to be great to watch at the East Room. But let's shift over back here domestically. When we're looking at various things across the border, let's talk about the northern border a little bit, because we know now that Mexican drug cartels are actually operating in Canada as well. Did that come as a shock to you? Because it did to me.
No, and they're very well armed. They've been making tens of billions of dollars thanks to the Joe Biden administration. Biden and Harris really welcomed them, is what it sounds like. In fact, I don't know if it's true or not, but Venezuela's president this past week came out and said, look, the Biden administration invited us to send the Tren de Aragua gang members. Now, I don't know if it's true, but he stated that in public at the podium in Venezuela. So pretty shocking if it is true. But they certainly didn't stop terrorists. They had known terrorists coming in, and they didn't send them out. They allowed them to come in, which is destabilizing to our country and leads to terrible crime. You've heard President Trump talk about how these are really bad criminals. They make our criminals look like nice guys, what they do.
It's so true. All right, so it's 5:06. This is Carla Sands with the America First Policy Institute. Carla, out of the 50 wins in the first 50 days of the administration, which was just celebrated just a couple days ago, please pick a number from 1 to 50.
Oh my gosh, I can't pick the number. I say all 50. Let's not get tired of winning.
I hear you, but if you pick a number, I'll read one of them right now. Go ahead.
Just read one, because I'm not looking at the number. Oh, you want me to just pick a number? 20.
That's my point, yeah.
Okay, 20.
All right, 20. Let's go with 20. President Trump is reforming the federal bureaucracy. How awesome is that when it comes to DOJ and the cabinets out there, the positions, there's taking the corruption and saying, see you later, bringing in the good stuff. Isn't it awesome?
It's so awesome. I love that Linda McMahon just fired half of the education department woke mobsters from the education building and has padlocked it until I think Thursday, while they go through and see who do they need to keep to deliver what the American people and their children need, and to get rid of all the indoctrination and all of the bad stuff that, remember, before the education department existed, we were #1 in the world. Now we're below Croatia. I think we're somewhere in the 20s. And our lunch is being eaten by people like the Chinese in the education.
Yeah, it's wild. And speaking of that, it seems like over at the Panama Canal that China has started to exit stage right or left, whichever way they want to go, for us to have the Panama Canal back. So that's great work by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Let's play the game one more time. Pick a number, 1 to 50.
Okay, 10.
All right, let's go with number 10. President Trump signed an executive order to reinstate with back pay U.S. service members who were discharged under the military's Biden-era COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Can we not clap for that? I mean,
we can. They forced my nephew to take the vax because he was studying to become a Navy doctor. And the pressure on him that he would have to pay back all of the education costs and the training costs that he had experienced, they put them in a room and threatened them. So thank God he's okay, but they forced him to take that vax. How about 35?
All right, 35. You like playing the game. This is awesome.
I like the game.
President Trump terminated the Biden-era electric vehicle mandate. Now, before you say anything, it's interesting. It was a mandate. Nothing wrong with buying an electric car. President Trump just looked at one yesterday and got a Tesla. So, but the mandate, that's the part of the less government, right?
Right. That's exactly right. Most Americans do not want to buy an electric vehicle. Most of them want a combustion engine car. And the U.S. government under Biden and Harris were forcing them to move into electric vehicles. And the car companies were going, look, we can't even sell them. They're sitting in the lot. We can't move this product. About 10% of Americans want them. The rest don't. Well, Elon Musk, the #1 car maker in the country, is now going to do better because all these other companies aren't going to be forced to produce these cars that they lose money on every car. I think the taxpayers were eating like tens of thousands because we were supporting this. The taxpayers were sending money to the car companies for them to retool and make electric cars that no one wanted.
That's so wild. All right, so it's 5:10. This is what we can do here as we're awaiting the St. Patrick's Day reception. Even though, of course, it's on Monday, but still the Irish leader there. As soon as we get that live feed or a playback, we'll go there live. But in the meantime, Carla, this is kind of fun. Let's keep it going. I mean, why not? There's 50 great things that have happened in this country, and it's wonderful to pick in this random way. Go ahead, pick a number.
40.
Number 40, President Trump restored transparency to government. It's almost like you just take a mic and mic drop it. I mean, come on.
Every single one. Remember how Biden was hiding everything? Remember people would do a FOIA request and it would still be hidden? And the FBI and the agency were maybe the worst about it. They were making everything classified, so you couldn't find anything. So this is a new day under Kash Patel, under Pam Bondi as our AG. I'm excited about transparency.
All right, let's go. Keep going.
All right, 45.
You said 45?
Yes.
Okay, number 45. We have to do 47 next. You know what I mean?
Do 47.
Well, let's go 45,
president.
46, 47, because let's be real. He won the 45th presidency. He did win the 46, know what I mean? And then, of course, he won the 47. So let's go with 45 first.
Okay.
This is a good one. President Trump rolled back the Biden-era push to mandate paper straws.
Oh, my gosh. Which are full of chemicals. It's not good for us. Yeah. I mean, they don't work.
Unbelievable, right? Number 46. Okay. President Trump instructed the Secretary of the Treasury to stop production of the penny, which cost $3.69 to make. I never knew that.
So it's like 4 cents each almost that it's costing. That's a waste of money, right?
Yeah. And so he's just each of these things right here. And number 47, the Trump administration and the city of New York, if you're from New York City and you're watching this, there might be just one person watching right now, or there might be, I don't know, a million. Who knows? But the point is, the Trump administration terminated approval for New York City's burdensome congestion pricing scheme. I mean, the extra money on top of the tolls just to travel around Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens and all that. I mean, that was insane.
Right.
And
it was.
And your thoughts on the whole thing of the less government situation. That's what President Trump is wanting to see. He said the other day, actually, I'm going to go to the quote. He said the other day, I'm going to get there here in a sec. I want a dynamic country where private enterprise carries the day, and in all caps it says, not the government.
That's right. Because government squeezes out private enterprise. All these government workers that Biden and Harris were bringing on board was squeezing out private business hiring. And that's why you saw the majority of these jobs, when they would report who was getting hired, was mostly government jobs. So we need private business, the business of making money and products and widgets and service to be hiring, not government. So he's reducing that government. But I'm excited about everything you just talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you're just joining us right now, of course, we're waiting for the St. Patrick's Day reception with the Taoiseach of Ireland, the Prime Minister, Michael Martin. That will be happening here soon. We'll be going to that as soon as we can. All right, let's. I'll pick one here, and then we could talk about it, and we could wrap it up if that's all right. Let's go with number.
That'd be great.
Let's go with number 13.
Great.
President Trump ended Biden's liquefied natural gas (LNG) export ban. I don't know as much about that, but I know you do. So take the floor, Carla Sands.
All right. So our allies are so thrilled that now they can buy American natural gas, that literally one tanker of American natural gas just was sent to Germany, and it's going to power homes, 100,000 homes for a year, that one tanker. So think about that. We're able to power our allies so they don't have to buy Russian energy, and they don't have to have unreliable power that costs a fortune. American gas, I like to say it's freedom gas, because what we're doing is we're giving these countries freedom, and we're also going to be able to help lower the cost of energy over time in countries where it's sky high, like Denmark and Germany.
Exactly. And to round out, or at least to talk about the first, second, third, and fourth of the 50 wins in 50 days, all about the southern border, all about the deportation of illegal aliens, specifically criminals. So we're seeing a lot of great things on a lot of levels. What's it been like for you when you monitor the news? Are you able to keep tabs on everything that's going on?
It's hard, Matthew, because there's so many good things happening. And that's how I think President Trump has the left on their, and the Democrats who are radical, he has them on their back foot. Is it's happening so fast. They're just trying to, it's like shooting at, sort of little things that pop up at a game and then go right back down, because there's so many good things happening every day. I love the executive orders the best, Matthew.
They are awesome. Number 18, to your point earlier, you talked about the no men and women's sports. Number 18, President Trump ended the unfair practice of forcing women to compete against men in sports. And Paula Scanlon will be joining us tomorrow, actually Friday, a former sports athlete that had to deal with that kind of thing. Talk about so much freedom and so many things just getting back to our moral compass in this country, right?
Yes. Yes, he's righting the ship of America. The left, the radical left, they're communists. They were trying to take us into a new direction that was really about globalist agenda that was going to reduce the quality of life for everybody watching. literally the middle class has been hollowed out over the past 30, 35 years. Those manufacturing jobs and those good, reliable jobs are coming back. We pressed companies, believe it or not, the government did, to send them abroad. And now they're coming back because of President Trump's America First leadership.
It's so awesome to see that. President Trump ending waste, fraud, and abuse in government's number 19. Number 21, because we already did 20, President Trump ended diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So we're seeing all of these things. That's a lot of work. I mean, President Trump already, has worked hard his whole life, but this is now the lives of people at stake when it comes to our freedoms and our rights and just getting the country back to being wealthy again or healthy again or protected. So, Carla, why don't we do this? Your last comment for the day of just what it's been like over the past 52 days and moving forward, how Americans should feel maybe in the sense of, being optimistic but still cautious?
Well, so I mean, I'm not going to tell people how to feel, but I hope that you can take in these glory days, because literally President Trump is bringing back the glory days of America. This is the dawn of a new age. Grasp it. Let's hold it in the midterms. Let's get 4 great years from this amazing team that he's assembled with 4 tough years just before this. Now let's make America great again together. And
that's what we're seeing happen. Carla Sands with America First Policy Institute, a former ambassador to Denmark. Thank you for all the work that you are doing and have done and will do in the future. Carla Sands, thank you again.
Thank you, Matthew.
Definitely. All right, so it's 5:17. Looking forward to seeing the East Room of the White House there, where this St. Patrick's Day reception will be held. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for streaming in live. Let's go to AmericanFinancing.net. AmericanFinancing.net, a great group there, all about getting you some money, saving you some money through various ways here. So refinancing or purchasing of a home or home loans. AmericanFinancing.net will get you all of that taken care of by just going to that website, reaching out to them, seeing if this is something that will work out for you. A great group of patriots, AmericanFinancing.com/RSBN. All right, so it's 5:18 on Wednesday, March 12th. Now, if you missed any of the Oval Office meeting before between the leader of Ireland and, of course, President Trump, we may be able to play some of that here for you. Director, do we have that clip that we can play for a little bit as we await the East Room? Okay, so we will be able to go to that in just a minute as it's 5:18. Again, thank you again for streaming in on this Wednesday, March 12th. Looking forward to coverage throughout this week, possibly any coverage over the weekend if there's any breaking news or other developments that happen, and then on to next week as we celebrate that. Those of you that like to celebrate it, St. Patrick's Day on Monday. All right, so a quick review again, if you're just joining us, about St. Patrick. He was a 5th century missionary and bishop who is credited with bringing Christianity to Ireland. Born in Britain, he was captured by Irish raiders at the age of 16 and spent 6 years in slavery before escaping and later returning to convert the Irish people to Christianity. So quite the life there from St. Patrick. Let's go to a couple other people that are at the Oval Office, including one of the greatest leaders of all time, President Donald Trump, and the leader of Ireland, Michael Martin, the Prime Minister of Ireland. This is from moments ago.
Took a little time off and then he served again. I've heard about that. That happens on occasion. And he's done very well. And we knew each other from a long time ago. But it's a great honor to have you in the Oval Office and have you at the White House. We have tremendous business relationships with Ireland, and that will only get stronger. The relationship we have personally and every other way is very, very strong and very, very good. So I just want to welcome you to Washington, D.C. and to our country, and thank you very much.
May I thank you, President. It's a great honor for me to be here to celebrate St. Patrick's with you.
Right.
And I thank you for your hospitality and the warmth of your reception. And I commend you in terms of the work that you're doing, particularly in terms of the pursuit of peace, which we discussed earlier. And I think that's going well. And you really have, in the first sort of 100 days of this government, you've done some extraordinary things very quickly.
Thank you.
Everybody's watching in that respect. So
Thank you.
Delighted to be here. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's a great honor to have you on. Special people, very special people. I know a lot of Irish, and growing up in New York, I know a couple of your people that used to live in that beautiful Ireland, and now they're here, but they love your country very much. You know, they have a great feeling toward your country.
They have, and a lot come back for holidays and
they come back.
stuff like that, and checking out their family ancestry and things like that. You know.
Great, fantastic people.
Some go to Doonbeg as well. Yeah.
And we love Doonbeg. I love them. I don't know if I'll ever see it again. Maybe I won't, but
we would like
I
to
think
come
I
back and
will.
see it,
We'll get there. We're going to get there. It's a beautiful place, wonderful place. Any questions?
Mr. President, on tariffs, how far
Yeah, please.
President Trump, how worried are you about the counter tariffs from the EU, which were announced yesterday? And also, how worried should Ireland be, given the fact that it has a massive trade surplus with the US, over $50 billion? Neil Martin might be quite nervous about what you're going to tell him to do.
Well, I don't think he looks nervous to me. And if he was nervous, he wouldn't show it. No, we do have a massive deficit with Ireland, because Ireland was very smart. They took our pharmaceutical companies away from presidents that didn't know what they were doing. And, it's too bad that happened. It's a tremendous job I give. Look, the Irish are smart. You're smart people. And you took our pharmaceutical companies and other companies, but, through taxation and proper taxation, they made it very, very good for companies to move over there. And we had presidents and people that were involved in this that had no idea what they were doing, and they lost big segments of our economy. The European Union treats us very badly. They have for years. I saw that. I had it out with them in my first term. Did well, but we had to solve other problems, and we did. But European Union's been very tough, and it's our turn too. We get a turn at that also, but they have not been fair. They sue our companies and win massive amounts of money. They sued Apple, won $17 billion, and they use that for other reasons, I guess, or to run the European Union. So I'm not knocking it. They're doing what they should be doing, perhaps, for the European Union, but it does create ill will. And as you know, we're going to be doing reciprocal tariffs. So whatever they charge us, we're charging them. Nobody can complain about that. Whatever it is, it doesn't even matter what it is. If they charge us 25 or 20% or 10% or 2% or 200%, then that's what we're charging them. And so I don't know why people get upset about that, because there's nothing more fair than that. And we had a problem with Ontario, and they dropped that when I let them know what we were going to be doing. They dropped it immediately, so I'm glad, because electricity, you shouldn't be playing with electricity. It affects people's lives. Actually their life. I mean, it can affect, depending on weather, it can affect their life, so we can't do that. And it doesn't make sense that our country allows electricity to be made in another country and sold into us. Who did that deal for the United States? Okay, I looked at that long ago, and I said that's not something that's very smart. So we've had a lot of bad trade policies, and yet we're doing very well right now. But we're doing well because I won the election. If I didn't win the election, you would have had a very bad period. I think a lot of the stock market going down was because of a really bad 4 years that we had. When you look at inflation and all of the other problems wars and inflation and so many other problems. But we're going to have very good years. We had, I don't know if you saw a little thing like the cost of eggs, little to you, but big to people out there, down almost 30% in the last few days. We got it down. We did a lot of things. We have a great Secretary of Agriculture, and we did a lot of things that got the cost of eggs down very substantially. And so many other things. A very big thing that I'm very happy with is oil is down to $65 a barrel. And that's faster than I would have anticipated. We put on the gas, we stepped on the gas in order to get oil. And what's happening. So we're getting that down. And when energy comes down, prices are going to be coming down with it. So in a very short period of time, we've done a very good job. And I think that the tariffs that we're talking about, and again, reciprocal, I think that the tariffs, there are some cases where they're a little beyond reciprocal because, we've been abused for a long time as a country. We have been abused really for a long time, and we will be abused no longer. Okay.
Are you going to retaliate to the EU retaliation?
Education, sir, would you describe for us, is this meeting your vision by cutting about half the workforce? And what responsibility do you feel to the civil servants who have now lost their jobs? Many of them worked at the Department of Education during their first term.
Sure, I do. I feel very badly, but many of them don't work at all. Many of them never showed up to work. Many of them never showed up to work, Kelly, and unfortunately, and that's not good. And when we cut, we go, and that's what I had a number of meetings with a lot of people over the last couple of months. When we cut, we want to cut, but we want to cut the people that aren't working or not doing a good job. We're keeping the best people, and Linda McMahon is a real professional, actually a very sophisticated business person, and she cut a large number, but she kept the best people, and we'll see how it all works out. But our country was run very badly. I mean, whether it was that or contracts that were signed that was so bad, so obviously bad, and I go through them in speeches. I could go through them all day long. I could read for billions and hundreds of billions of dollars, and all of that fat and waste and fraud and abuse is being taken out. But it's incredible what's happened. Now, Department of Education's maybe more so than any other place has a lot of people that can be cut. They're, number one, not showing up to work. Number two, they're not doing a good job. And if you take a look at our education process, and if you look at the charts, because they have numerous charts where they do the top 40, we're at number 37, 38, 39, and 40. And recently they hit, during Biden's last few days, they hit last. So they were number 40, and yet we're number 1 in cost per pupil. So it's pretty bad. But we have a dream, and you know what the dream is? We're going to move the Department of Education. We're going to move education into the states, so that the states, instead of bureaucrats working in Washington, so that the states can run education. And you have Norway, you have Denmark, you have Sweden, you have Finland, you have various countries that do very well. You also have China that does very well in education, which is a pretty big tribute to China, I must say. 1.4 billion, and they're in the top 10, and it's pretty amazing. So we can't blame size anymore. Normally you'd blame size. It's too big. How can you do it? But China does it. So we think when you move it back to Iowa and Indiana and all the states that run so well, there's so many, I could name 30, maybe almost 40. Those will be as good as Denmark. Those will be as good as Norway, and they'll be as good as any of these. I believe they'll be as good as any. Now, then you're going to have 10 that won't be so great. You're going to have 5 that will not be good at all, but we'll work with them and we'll get them to be good. But what we want to do is always school choice, but we're going to do school choice, and we're doing it. But we want education to be moved back where the states run education, where the parents of the children will be running education, where governors that are doing a very good job will be running education, not run. I drive through the city and I see like so many buildings, Department of Education, Department of big buildings, and by the way, they're empty. Nobody shows up to work. So I think Linda did a very good job.
Mr. President, do you have a meeting with Vladimir Putin scheduled or conference?
All right, so it's the bottom of the hour. That was from earlier today at the Oval Office. If you missed any of that meeting there between the Irish leader and our president, you can always go to Rumble and various social platforms with Right Side Broadcasting Network. You can watch it in its entirety. So again, that was a recording from earlier today, and we actually played that in its entirety and in different broadcasts as RSBN host Robert McNeely was taking care of that coverage at that point. So again, if you want to see the rest of that, all you have to do is go to Rumble right now if you'd like and check it out, or be happy to have you here live as well as we get ready to see President Trump there in the East Room of the White House. A couple vantage points there live. This is a St. Patrick's Day reception along with the Taoiseach of Ireland, the Prime Minister there, Micheál Martin, in the East Room. So as soon as this gets kicked off, we will go there in its entirety live. Now, usually when a foreign leader is at the White House, you'll see them in the East Room, and they'll have a more of a press conference today. Not that case. This is more of a St. Patrick's Day kind of reception. We know, of course, St. Patrick's Day is on Monday, the 17th, but having the Irish leader in town, might as well have an event like this. So that's what you see there. So it'll be quite interesting to watch this live with you here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. If you're watching this on replay right now as well, a little bit later, thanks so much for watching as we have this access, of course, into the White House. Pretty awesome to see that as everyone is standing by for the two world leaders, of course, the leader of the free world, President Trump, and the Prime Minister of Ireland, Micheál Martin, there in the East Room. So as soon as that starts, we'll go there live. All right, now within current news, of course, just like out there in the United Kingdom, whether it's Ireland or the UK or Brazil, keeping everything on a positive thing would be great. But the problem is we're seeing censorship in various countries, and we're hoping that these world leaders will shift their ideologies. But at the end of the day, we know that doesn't usually happen. So it's quite interesting to see when President Trump has to meet with various leaders and the common ground that they have to find for U.S. and, whether it's Irish relations or the United Kingdom, he still has to, of course, represent our country, and he does a great job doing that. The question is, where will President Trump's first international trip be? We thought that he was going to go to Saudi Arabia this past week, but it was the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, as we're seeing the Russia-Ukraine war hopefully wind down very quickly. Beautiful shot there of RFK Jr. And then we're seeing, of course, at 5:32 Eastern right now, that also President Trump saying that usually, and we've seen that in the past, the United Kingdom is the trip that the president usually takes, the first trip to the across the sea there, across the pond. So that may be the case in this situation. We'll see. But in the meantime, we see world leader after world leader stopping at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And the people that are on the side of freedom, not only in our great country, but anywhere in the world where people love freedom, if you're someone that loves that, you would be a supporter of President Trump. You'd be a supporter of Viktor Orban in Hungary. You'd be a supporter of the former president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro. You'd be a supporter of these people that stand for freedom. And it's just a word that is always going to be around. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. I was looking in the Bible the other day, just at various scriptures about freedom and how important it is to have that and not to be enslaved by anything. And we definitely don't want to be that to a government or anything like that. And that's the way it is, unfortunately, for billions of people around the world when it comes to certain leaders that really put their thumb down on the people and control them in every way possible. So thank God, most of you watching right now, born in America. And if you're an immigrant to our country, hey, great, this is awesome. We're all part of the family of America. At the end of the day, we know through the legal means. Now, we've seen a big drop-off of illegal aliens crossing from the southern border, the northern border, and the like. So great to see those things happening. Speaking of the southern border, and speaking of a border czar, Tom Homan, who was in New York City today and meeting with various people there. There were a number of protesters who are more with the woke mind virus. Maybe they're good-hearted people in some ways, but their minds are warped, buying into all of the leftist ideologies that are out there. And they were yelling and screaming at Tom Homan. Well, guess what Tom Homan did? Well, he was walking with security, through various halls in New York City. He was eating an apple. He's in the Big Apple, eating an apple, walking by like it's no big deal, because he's seen what it's like on the southern border. He's seen the atrocities. He knows he's doing the right thing. And when someone knows they're doing the right thing, there's really nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be scared of. You're doing the right thing. Be courageous. Let's get this going. Let's do it. And that's what Tom Homan is doing there. And then in New York City, of all places, when it comes to the amount of people that are on the left side of the aisle there. But you know what? There are so many other spots outside of just Manhattan that are supporters of President Trump. I mean, Staten Island, Long Island, upstate New York, and various parts of the state. And there are people that are in the 5 boroughs that support President Trump. I mean, if you look back at the Bronx just recently. Well, I say just recently, but it's been months. It was actually May of 2024, I believe, when President Trump visited the Bronx for the great campaign stop. And the only other president to stop in the Bronx back in the day was Ronald Reagan. So President Trump stopping there in May, and there was many supporters, all different backgrounds. I was there personally with one of our great photographers here, and also directors, a director here, that we were there and we saw the proof in the pudding. This was genuine from the people there in the Bronx. So to that New York point of Tom Homan eating an apple, of course the big apple, eating an apple there was quite awesome. If you haven't seen that video, it's on, I think, Breaking 911 or various X pages and accounts. Just seeing our people that are appointed. You know, as a border czar, Tom Homan really taking care of business and working with ICE and working with DHS and Kristi Noem and working with our military with Pete Hegseth as the top person over at the DOD. We're seeing the greatness of our country through that strength, and it's awesome to see that. All right, so 5:37, Wednesday, March 12th. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks again for live streaming in. We're going to go there to the East Room together and check it out as we are live right now. That is a live picture. Wasn't sure if we were going to get a live picture or if this was going to be a tape playback, but as you see there, this is all live right now at 5:37. If you missed it, Carla Sands joined us earlier today on this broadcast, or earlier in the hour, and we talked about the 50 wins in the first 50 days of President Trump. We kind of played a game there and just picked numbers and picked number 47 or picked number 16 or whatever, and just read off the amount of wins that we've seen under President Trump and this team at the White House. So it's been quite awesome to be a witness of history, a witness of a historic time for our country, and to cover it each day in and day out in conservative media. Quite awesome to do that, but awesome that you guys are with us in this as we want to show you what's going on out there. So case in point, we'll be taking you live there to the East Room from the start of the event to the end of the event, and we'll bring that to you live. If you'd like to follow Right Side Broadcasting Network on X, it's at RSB Network. If you'd like to follow us on Truth Social, it's at RSBN. Both accounts north of 1 million. Truth Social north of 2 million now, as the network continues to grow in popularity and also the amount of people that maybe don't know about Right Side. When you find out that you can watch various live events and that there's access there that we have with the White House is quite awesome. And then also various feeds from any other, whether it's a trip domestically for President Trump or the Vice President or the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense traveling outside the Beltway, we have that for you. And in some cases, when there's American breaking news, we'll bring that to you as well, that's outside of the Beltway. And then also internationally, we have already covered a lot of international trips by various government officials. And it's pretty awesome because you're getting something that is about the actual event that's going on. And we are facilitating that as hosts here at the network. So it's great to be a part of that as it's 5:39 Eastern. Let's take a live look and listen in the room right now. Again, I'm Matthew Alvarez. You're watching RSBN Live. It's 5:39 Wednesday, March 12th. Let's go to the East Room for a little bit, and I'll see you in a second if we don't see President Trump sooner than that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by the Taoiseach of Ireland and Mrs. Martin.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor. Great people. A lot of Irish friends right there. A lot of very, very good Irish friends. But thank you all for being here. Even though it's still a few days away, I want to be the first to wish each and every one of you a very happy St. Patrick's Day. It's a big day. And as a lifelong New Yorker, nobody knows the Irish better than me. I know too much about the Irish. So let me begin by saying I really do. I love the Irish. I've had great, great friends over the years, and I love the Irish, special people. And I've been to Ireland many times. I have a lot of property in Ireland, actually, and it does very well, so I like it. If it didn't do well, I wouldn't like it. But I'm always struck by the awesome beauty of the Emerald Isle and the strength and warmth and grit and grace of the Irish people. Very few people can compare. Today we're delighted to welcome Taoiseach Micheál Martin, a very special man doing incredibly well and very popular, and his beautiful wife, Mary. And I want to thank you both for being here. The first official visit to the White House, so thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to extend a special welcome to Ireland's ambassador to the United States, Geraldine Boom. And you, where are you, Geraldine? There you are, Geraldine Byrne Nation. And you're going to be working with this gentleman right here. He's a very great golfer, one of the best golfers that you'll ever see. He'll be playing golf all day long. He'll take clients out to play golf, but he's won many, many club championships. And Ed Walsh, congratulations. Great. Great. It's going to be great. We're grateful also to be joined by the members and many members of our cabinet, proud Irish Americans, Sean Duffy and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Where's Robert F. and Sean? Hi, Bobby. I knew that, let's see, Duffy we knew and Kennedy we knew. Some of you I wasn't as sure. Pam Bondi, I don't know. Are you Irish? Are you Irish? With that name, I can't figure that out. She's doing a hell of a job, I'll tell you. That Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright. And you're doing a good job. You see the oil is going down. It's going down. $65 a barrel today. You're doing better than I even thought, because everything else is going to be coming down with it. All those expensive goods that you had to suffer with for 4 years are all coming down. Energy leads the way. Thank you. Good job you're doing with our friend, right? HUD Secretary Scott Turner. You're not Irish, Scott. Where's Scott? Give me a break, Scott. You know, I want to be politically correct and not mention it, but I'm going to say, how much Irish do you have in you, Sean? I don't know. He said 0. That's right. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins. Thank you, Doug. You're Irish. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. He's one of the most important guys. He's going to get those approvals. A nuclear power plant will take less than 2 weeks to get approved, right, Lee? They used to take 15 years. We're going to do it in a couple of weeks. U.S. Trade Representatives Jameson Greer. Where are you, Jameson? Jameson Greer. Thank you, Jameson. And I also, there's a very special man here that I've been watching a long time. One of the greatest dancers ever in the world. Michael Flatley is around here someplace. There's nobody like this guy. Great, Michael. I've watched him, Radio City. I've watched you a lot, Michael. His feet, the way they moved. I don't know how the hell you do it. Can you still dance like that, or is Father Time caught up? You know, Father Time has never lost. You know that, right? But you're doing great. You look fantastic. Also with us are Representatives John McGuire. John, hi, John. Good. Bill Heisinger. Bill, thank you. Ronnie Jackson, Doc Ronnie as I call him, even though he's a congressman. Special guy. John Joyce. John. Thank you, John. David Joyce. David. Thank you. And Guy Resenshaw. You know that Resenshaw. That's actually the way you pronounce it, you know. Nobody else gets it right. I got it right, but it's a hell of a name. And despite that, he's very successful at what he does, which is politics. And he's a great guy. Thank you, Guy. We have come together to this beautiful White House this evening for the annual Shamrock Ceremony, a living symbol of the long and unique friendship between Americans and the Irish. And we're always going to have that friendship, just like we have a great friendship. We'll always have that very special friendship. This wonderful tradition dates back to 1952, when the first Irish ambassador to the United States sent President Truman a box of shamrocks as a gesture of goodwill. You hear that, Walsh? The first. You're not the first. I don't know what you are. What number are you? Do you have any idea? It's been a long time, right? Let's see. I could figure it out pretty easily. The bond between our nations as the old America itself, and it is as old as our country. So many Irish volunteers risked their lives in the American Revolution, and George Washington described Ireland as, quote, the friend of my country in my country's most friendless day, meaning Ireland stuck with us when we were not doing so well, when it was looking pretty bad. Irish heritage gave us the boldness of Andrew Jackson. I didn't know Andrew Jackson was Irish. The brilliance of F. Scott Fitzgerald, Henry Ford, and Walt Disney, and the leadership of the late, great President Ronald Reagan. It was men and women of Irish descent who built the hallowed halls of Notre Dame University. Notre Dame is great. What a great place. The legend of the Boston Red Sox and the golden arches of McDonald's. That's right. Today, 1 in every 10 Americans trace their roots back to the old country. We're discussing we have 5 million people living in Ireland, but we have 35 million people living here, right, of Irish descent. That's a pretty interesting statistic. I was looking at all these great dancers over here. You are very beautiful. Are you all great dancers? Is that right? Look at that. Young, great dancers. Wow. That's great. Did you perform for the group before? Because I heard somebody was doing really fantastic. They said these people are fantastic. I didn't get to see you. Do you want to do it again? Okay, well, we might have them do it again. I heard you did a fantastic job. Thank you. As we celebrate Irish American Heritage Month, we're grateful to be joined by hundreds of these proud patriots right here today. And I know them from personal experience that many of the people that we have here, they're just fierce. They have fierce Irish flame. We call it, you never give up. You never, ever give up. Oh, I even see Don. Hello, Don. You are definitely Irish, Don McGann. You are definitely an Irishman. There's no question about that. But you never give up. We will never give up ever, right? For the young ones, ever. Because you never know what's going to happen, you know? Just a little bit more effort and you get there. Look at what happened to me. A lot of people said this was not a possibility. They said that was going to be a tough race, and we won in a landslide, and let's keep it that way, right? And we're having a great time bringing our country back and bringing it back at a level that people had no idea was going to take place this rapidly, this quickly. And a lot of our great people that are secretaries and the people working in the administration are here, and they're doing a fantastic job. So I want to thank all of you. 5 blocks east of where we are today, that spirit once helped save the very heart of the city's Irish American community. You all know about it. During the War of 1812, British forces rampaged through the streets of Washington, burning every building in their path. Every single building was being burned down. Almost everyone fled, but not Father William Matthews of St. Patrick's Church, which was built to serve the Irish workers who came to build the Capitol and the White House. They were building the White House, and they formed a great bond. And they were doing the pretty important buildings, the White House and the Capitol. I would say that's about as good as it gets. As the fire spread, the priest and the group of his parishioners said that we're just going to have to barricade ourselves in. We're going to have to do something because it's really bad. It's really dangerous in here. And inside the church, they climbed to the roof armed with only buckets of water. That's the only thing they had. And the other thing they had was faith in God. They had a big faith in God. They said, God will never do this to us. Risking their lives, they defended the church. And more than 2 centuries later, St. Patrick still stands as a beautiful testament to their incredible resolve and bravery. And the patron saint of the Emerald Isle, and that's what it is, St. Patrick. So we have St. Patrick's Day, and we remember their courage, and we honor the bravery of countless Irish Americans who have kept our country safe, strong, prosperous, and free. And I made a little talk with my friend right behind me before at the Capitol, and they gave me one statistic that they don't have here. I thought it was an amazing statistic. 50% of the people that won the Congressional Medal of Honor were Irish. Can you imagine? And I want to check on that, because that sounds to me, it's just that. I want to, Pam, would you please have that investigated? Because how is that possible? Seriously, how is that possible? I was very surprised to see that, Mary. Would you agree that that's possible? With the Irish, anything? With the Irish? Now, think of it. The Congressional Medal of Honor is the highest award you can get in this country. And 50%, well, you also have the Presidential Medal of Freedom. But I will say the Presidential Medal of Freedom, it's much easier to, I mean, you get it for achievement in something, but you don't have to take many, many bullets, although there has been one bullet that was, there's been one bullet that was not too good. I'm the only one, the presidential, that got that. But think of that, 50% of the people that received the Congressional Medal of Honor had Irish heritage and were involved in some form with the Irish, and that's pretty good. That's a pretty big statement. In closing, I want to remember one more Irish-American patriot our nation lost this week. In 1979, Anthony R. Dolan, some of you know that name, a lot of the people that work in the White House know it very well, became the youngest ever Pulitzer Prize winner for his reporting on government corruption in Stamford, Connecticut. In 1981, he became the chief speechwriter to President Reagan, whom he served for 8 years. That's a long time. That's the full time, 8 years, coining the phrase evil empire. That was his word. That's a very famous, if people aren't here, the evil empire was a very profound statement. Tony served as a White House advisor throughout my first term, and most recently was a special assistant to President on domestic policy and the Domestic Policy Council. He passed away early Monday morning, and his family is devastated, to be honest. They're devastated. A couple of the family members are here, but they're devastated. He was a great person, a great, brilliant writer, and so he will be very greatly missed. And Tony is looking down on us right now, and he was so proud of what he did and his heritage. He was so proud of his heritage. So I want to thank him and his family for the incredible job they did. Once again, let me wish everyone a very happy St. Patrick's Day. And with that, I would like to ask Taoiseach Martin to say a few words. He's a very, very special man in Ireland. As you probably know, he's a very popular guy, which is not easy in Ireland. And it's an honor to have both Mary and Michael here with us, because we really, we've gotten to know each other very well, and they're great people. Thank you very much, everybody.
President Trump, distinguished guests, it is a singular honour to represent the people of Ireland as we gather to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. The time-honoured tradition of the Shamrock Bowl ceremony is an important moment to reflect upon the relationship between our two countries. Mr. President, as you said on an earlier St. Patrick's Day, and I quote, "Through trial and triumph, ups and downs, thick and thin, the extraordinary Irish people have stood by America's side, and America will always stand by theirs." Our peoples have stood side by side for a long time, and next year the United States marks the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Of the 56 signatories of that historic document, 3 were born on the island of Ireland and many others were of Irish descent. Since then, Irish America has been at the heart of shaping this great nation. The ideals of liberty, democracy and equality of opportunity forged in this country did much to inspire Irish independence. Our histories are interconnected because our people are interconnected. Today, as the President has said, more than 30 million people claim Irish ancestry in the United States. Those who came to America seeking refuge from poverty and hunger at home worked hard. They helped build the railroads that connected this country and the skylines that defined it. Others served their communities and their adopted home as firefighters, teachers, nurses, doctors, policemen and soldiers. Irish people can now be found in almost every industry and community across the United States. Mr. President, Irish Americans have lived the American dream. I saw that for myself earlier this week in the great state of Texas, where I met Governor Greg Abbott, attended South by Southwest and learned about exciting economic opportunities that abound in the Lone Star State. I met with Texan-based companies using Ireland as a gateway into the European market, as well as the Irish companies investing in and buying from Texas. All across the United States, men and women go to work every morning in Irish-owned companies. These companies play a key role in the US economy, operating in every sector, in every state. Some of your great American manufacturing companies count Irish buyers as their top client, with order books worth many billions of dollars supporting the jobs of thousands of fantastic American workers. Ireland is now in the top 10 as a source of foreign direct investment in the United States. Not bad for a small island. Ireland likes to trade with the United States, and the United States likes to do business with Ireland because we are strong and reliable partners. Mr. President, let's do even more and better together. In the past, Irish labourers came to help build the new republic, the beacon on the hill. They even built this beautiful White House. They built the roads and the railroads that made this mighty union possible. Today, Irish companies are building the infrastructure connecting the United States in the 21st century. Throughout our great shared history, Ireland has played a role in bringing America closer. In doing so, we've been proud to help make this country great. Mr. President, American companies continue to invest in Ireland, where our access to the European market, talented workforce and consistent and stable business environment makes us one of the best places in the world to do business. And just like our peoples and cultures, our economies are deeply interconnected. Investment in Ireland helps American companies sell their products across the world. Our island is home to a people with an outward perspective, generations of whom have looked to the United States for opportunity and inspiration. We've built prosperity through free and fair trade with partners all over the world, and particularly here in these United States. Let us continue to build on that foundation, bringing ever-growing prosperity to both our great peoples. Let us continue to work together to make sure that we maintain that mutually beneficial two-way economic relationship that has allowed innovation and creativity and prosperity to thrive. Mr. President, on St. Patrick's Day in 1981, in this House, President Ronald Reagan spoke of a just and peaceful solution to the conflict in Northern Ireland. And that was the start of an extraordinary journey. 17 years later, after enormous effort and commitment and dialogue and disagreement and sheer perseverance, we signed the Good Friday Agreement. We signed a just and lasting peace into being. And the United States of America was at the very centre of that magical moment of hope and inspiration. Successive presidents, Republican and Democrat, cared enough to put in the late nights, the persuading, the cajoling, the negotiating, the encouraging, the influencing. And Mr. President, 3,720 people were killed in that conflict and close to 50,000 people were injured. In per capita terms, that's many millions of Americans. And just imagine that for a moment in terms of the scale of what happened. It was the support of the United States of America that was essential in bringing that to an end. One of the greatest achievements of American foreign policy, with heartfelt commitment from both sides of the aisle. The story of peace in Ireland is one that we wrote together. We know building peace is a difficult and painstaking task, but when the mighty United States of America puts its shoulder to the wheel, there is no mountain it cannot move. Mr. President, I welcome the unrelenting focus and energy you have brought to the search for peace in Ukraine and in the Middle East since your first days in office. In my view, there is nothing more noble, President, than the pursuit of peace, and this is what you are doing. Ireland is ready to work with you and our international partners to end conflict and especially to bring just, lasting and sustainable peace to the people of Ukraine and the people of the Middle East. Conflict and war hurt the most vulnerable. Too many children in particular have died in Gaza, in Israel, in Sudan, and too many children have been abducted in Ukraine. Let us together never cease to strive for peace, prosperity and opportunity for all the world's children. That would be an extraordinary achievement for the transatlantic relationship and an extraordinary legacy for the ages. Mr. President, County Clare is one of the most beautiful places on this earth. And Doonbeg is one of its finest jewels. One of Ireland's finest poets, and we've had a few, as you know, wrote of the beauty of County Clare along the flaggy shore in September or October, when the wind and the light are working off each other. And Heaney wrote of how Ireland can catch the heart off guard and blow it open. I have been to that part of Clare, and I know that that is true. Mr. President, I hope that we can welcome you to Ireland soon to catch your own heart off guard. You know better than anyone the beauty of Doonbeg, a place that would take anyone's breath away. Gorov Mila Amahagut, Banachti na Fela Podrig Oruv Galer. Thank you very much indeed, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. Thank you. Time-honoured tradition, I'm going to present the bowl of shamrock to President Trump.
We're looking live at 6:12 p.m. Eastern Time right here on RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Quite awesome to see the President of the United States there speaking, and then the leader of Ireland as well. So quite the packed room there. Quite a good time there at the East Room of the White House. So that concludes our coverage for today. If there's any breaking news, we'll bring it to you live right here on Right Side. Also, if for some reason we're not live right here on the channel, you can always check us out on X, on Truth Social, rsbnetwork.com, our RSBN app as well. Just staying tuned and seeing what's going on in your world. You can see that right here on RSBN. So let's thank a few sponsors before we go. Let's go to mypillow.com/RSBN, mypillow.com/RSBN, up to 80% off. So many awesome products, including my coffee right here. Good stuff, always good stuff. Many other products as well, as you guys know, from the pillows to the sheets to there's a down blanket as well. Pretty awesome products there. So go to mypillow.com/RSBN. Let's also thank the Home Title Lock, hometitlelock.com/RSBN. Instead of getting your title from your house stolen from you, the FBI actually calls it house stealing. It actually happens. You can go to Home Title Lock for more information. It's hometitlelock.com/RSBN. Let's go to angelpaste.com as well out of Spring, Texas. Many great products there. Not only the Miracle Cream, there's other ones as well. All you have to do is go to angelpaste.com, use the RSBN promo code. You'll get a discount from this great group as well. We'd also want to let you know about a number of other things, including donating. If you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting Network, all you do is text RSBN to 801-801. So it's just text RSBN to 801-801. It'll take you right to where you need to go if you'd like to donate to the network. All right, it's 6:14. It is Wednesday, March 12th. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for watching all of our coverage today. RSBN host Robert McNeely earlier today, of course, now live at 6:14. We will be live tomorrow. I believe it's at 9 a.m. Eastern as we cover more of the news of the day right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.